And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Rusty Humphries with us. And Rusty, we have a viewer in Sandstone, West Virginia, watching us on Free Speech TV on Direct TV.
Okay.
And his name is Rusty, too.
Hey, nice name.
So, hey, Rusty, meet Rusty.
We may disagree, but we got cool names. What's going on, bro? I'm brother from another mother.
Hey, Rusty. Hey, Thom. Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues out there, most people could agree, is the offshore bank accounts and ties to ALEC contributions and ALEC status as a nonprofit.
Are you talking about people hiding their money from the tax man, basically?
Basically, that and political bribery by entities like ALEC.
Yeah, the American Legislative Exchange Council. Yeah,
that is a nonprofit. When obviously, Thom, you and I can agree, is a for-profit entity.
Okay, well, these are two separate topics, and we can kind of split them up, I suppose. Thank you for the call, Rusty. But first of all, your thoughts on people stashing their money in Swiss, or actually, it's not so much Swiss banks.
This is nothing new. It's nothing American about it. I mean, Yasser Arafat's got put tons of money in a Swiss bank account.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wrong. It's unethical. The part of the problem, though, is that we do take a lot of money in taxes, and we have all these loopholes. Both sides are using them, Democrats and Republicans. And
there's $32 trillion is the best estimate right now.
Is that what it is?
In just to avoid taxes, $32 trillion.
Boy,
the GDP of the planet is $65 trillion.
Really? Well, I'd love to have a couple of those trillion. That's me. I'll split one with you.
But it seems like to me like that's a problem, and I don't think it's as much a problem for America as it is for smaller, poorer countries where you got some guy like Gaddafi, or Saddam, ripping off the country and stashing the money offshore.
That's right. And by the way, if I was in Cyprus, my money be in a Swiss bank account too.
Yeah,
I'll put $200 in that bank. I don't care. I'm keeping it at
I think they're trying to.
Yeah, these countries are in big trouble, and a lot of it is again because the governments they want to take it.
Okay, now Rusty's other comment was about the American Legislative Exchange Council. This is a group that Paul Weyrich put together back in the 1980 era, where largely Republican legislators get together 50-50 with lobbyists twice a year and write model legislation that gets introduced in state legislatures around the country, typically for the benefit of corporations. I don't know of any equivalent of that on the left. I'm curious what your thoughts are about it.
I've never heard of the organization, honestly. I've never been invited. I've never been invited to any of the parties.
Yeah. Wow.
If I got invited to a party, I'd let you know, but I haven't been in one.
Okay. It's I think there was a site called ALEC Watch. I'll have to send you some information.
Yeah, I've been involved in a lot of political things on the right. Never heard that one.
ALECexposed.org.
All right, we'll check into it.
ALECexposed.org. How much time do we have before the break? 20 seconds. Okay, not enough time to get another caller in. That's another thing that's fascinating to me because I don't think that there's a progressive in America who doesn't know what ALEC is, and I'm guessing. Last time I was on Bill O'Reilly's show, he threw something at me, some name, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Everybody knows about this,"
Right.
and it's almost like we read separate news sites, we live in different universes, and somehow
there's part of it. I mean, a lot of people on the left think that Fox News is evil, where we seem to think it's more fair and balanced, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
but it's like
I'll look into ALEC. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, no. But beyond the ALEC thing, it's just this whole kind of parallel universe thing. I find it fascinating.
That is interesting.
And I think it's not a good thing that this siloization of America is happening. We'll be back. Rusty Humphries, Thom Hartmann, right after this. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Rusty Humphries with you.
Yes, here in the Rusty Humphries and the Thom Hartmann Show.
Indeed. Shows.
We spent a lot of time coming up with the names of these programs. And
really tough stuff to
people always say, how'd you come up with the name of your show? Well, I don't know. My mom had something to do with it.
Okay. Barney has a question. Barney in Seattle. Hey, Barney.
How you doing?
Good. What part of Seattle are you in, Barney?
I'm right dead smack in the center of the universe, Fremont.
Okay, great. I know that area. I grew up in the Des Moines area, which is halfway between Seattle and Tacoma. Anyway, what's your question?
Area too. Very beautiful.
Yes.
I just want to know, I was just asking, do you remember this little ditty? I think it goes, pledge allegiance to the flag and the democracy to which it stands?
No.
To the republic for which it stands.
Oh, republic. You guys just brought that up a minute ago.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Have you ever heard the word sovereignty?
Yeah.
It seems to me that when you start talking about above the law, when we established this Constitution, we declared it into being, and where did we get that authority?
Well, I think that, if you want to go back to the history of the Enlightenment, you could say that this started, with Leviathan, Thomas Hobbes arguing that maybe people could govern themselves, and then John Locke in 1774 with the Second Treatise on Government saying that life, liberty, and property, and then, a century later, Thomas Jefferson. But
thanks for bringing us down. I appreciate it. We were on a good flow there, and all of a sudden, there's a word for that. It's called bad radio. Sorry.
Okay,
next.
Todd in Anoka, Minnesota. Todd, listening on AM 950. Hey, Todd, you're on the air.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for taking my call, Rusty. I appreciate your being there. It really is an interesting conversation.
Thank you.
I do take issue with something you said a while back when Tom asked you about what you thought the most pressing issues were, and you mentioned political correctness.
Yes.
The example you used was you said when you were younger there were the joke books out that made fun of the Irish and the Polish and how everyone could laugh at them, and that's not politically correct anymore. And I'm probably even older than you, but I do remember those books. I think the big difference, though, is that the Polish and the Irish were completely assimilated into American culture at that time. So you could make jokes of those people, but there were tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, that were totally successful in the nation and could laugh at themselves. But at the same time, when jokes were being made of people of other races, who at that same time had signs they had to look at that said, no blacks allowed or whites only.
Well, they certainly didn't have those signs when I was a kid. And I'm a short, fat white guy, so I'm sure there's short, fat white guy joke books, or there should be. The problem is that we allow people to be victims. And what I'm saying is, you're not a victim. I'm not a victim. There are people that have gone through some horrible things in their lives. And you know what? The people who were part of the bombing in Boston, they're victims.
I think Todd's point was that making jokes about people when they are powerless can be cruel. When they are
who's powerless
when
anymore?
They are
I would say they're poor and down at and again, am I saying
for example,
that we should be going
gay
out there
teenagers have the highest suicide rate in the United States?
Am I saying that we should be out there telling gay teenager jokes? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
then you are politically correct.
No, what I'm saying is that we need to be able to lighten up as Americans. We need to be able to not take ourselves so seriously. You're talking about the suicide rate with gay teenagers. You know what? They need to stop taking themselves so seriously. I know it's hard. We all had rough lives. I had an alcoholic stepfather. My father was killed in Vietnam. My wife died a few years ago. I can sit around and be a victim, but I'm not.
Right.
And so if we tell people, you're a victim, you're right. They'll believe it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Paul in Woodinville. I'm sorry, Paul. Mark in Northbrook, Illinois, listening on WCPT, our Chicago blowtorch.
All right.
So what's up?
Have you been to Mr. Beef in Chicago? That's an awesome place. You been to Mr. Beef in Chicago?
Absolutely.
Unbelievable place. Anyway, what's going on, brother?
Well, you were talking before about money in politics, and you got into whether or not that's a problem. And I might suggest that the issue with money in politics is that money is power, whether it's corporate or 1% power. And the Constitution is specifically designed to separate power and diffuse power, because those folks that were our founders knew about power from Europe, and they wanted to avoid it. And the concentration of both money and power was a problem.
Well, I'll tell you one place that power and money is not working, and that is trying to get a Republican into Chicago. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I don't care you got Koch brother money or whatever. That's a Democrat town. Yeah. They had a guy running for Jesse Jackson's seat. He was a black guy. I forget his name. He was on my show, although he had been in prison for 20 years. That's probably not a very good sign to try to get a job there as a congrison. But he got beat like a rented mule.
It's supposed to work the other way around, I think. It's
well, he had reformed himself. He had a good story.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he got beat like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
they
put a lot of money behind him.
Jefferson wrote at some length on a number of occasions about how If wealth becomes so great that it can corrupt a political process, it should be subject to taxation. In fact, he said geometric taxation. In other words, as the wealth goes up.
Now, that's the guy that spent himself into bankruptcy, too.
It's true. It's true. But
he got a nice house, though. I've been there.
Yeah.
It is a difficult situation. It's a difficult problem to fix.
Well, but again, NoBillionaires.com website.
Huh?
NoBillionaires.com. You can have 999,999,000.
Yeah, I don't want to have a maximum
So how much is too much?
There is no such thing.
There's no such thing as too much.
No.
You don't think that there is a point where wealth is so great
no,
that
because
it
you know what? It'll be $1 billion, and then once that gets done, it'll be $500 million. Once that gets in for a while, pretty soon it'll be $1 million. Then it'll go down to 100,000.
You know, I don't disagree with your slippery slope argument. I don't disagree with that. On the other hand,
we keep agreeing on stuff. Dang it!
On the other hand, there are ways around that, and that's like index things for inflation.
But again, they mess with the numbers.
Yeah.
This government, and it's both Democrats and Republicans.
So the bottom line is you just don't like the idea of basically redistribution of wealth.
I want to make $2 billion.
Yeah, and probably most people would like to make $2 billion, but I would say if I made $2 billion, I have an obligation to give back a good chunk of that to the society that made it possible.
And where I choose to do so, not where your party chooses to give it away or my party chooses to give it away.
Where we all choose to do it because that's our republic.
No, it should be my choice. It's my money.
Okay. All right. Well, there I think is the point of divide. Rusty Humphries, Thom Hartmann. Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you, Thom Hartmann. I appreciate you being here on the show.
Thank you for being on my show.